This is my video update on this Sunday afternoon, April the 21st. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off, of course, with the vote that took place yesterday at the U.S. House, where they approved the foreign aid packages, including the 61 billion package for Project Ukraine. And the Uniparty, they came out in full force and they approved a whole lot of money for the military-industrial complex. There were about 112 or 113 U.S. Republicans, U.S. House Republicans, that voted against this package. But the establishment Republicans, the rhinos, and I believe all the Democrats, they voted in favor of the foreign aid packages, with absolutely nothing to go to the people of the United States of America or the southern border. Interestingly enough, the package for Project Ukraine actually includes $300 million to patrol and monitor the Ukraine border. Interesting fact right there, huh? But wow, what an embarrassing day for the U.S. Congress, for the House of Representatives. What an embarrassing day. Because when the approval of the money for Project Ukraine was announced, a whole bunch of House members, a lot of House members, they pulled out little tiny Ukraine flags and started waving those flags, chanting Ukraine, Ukraine, Slava Zelensky, Slava Ukraina, whatever, man. It was embarrassing, bro. It was embarrassing. My God, cringe, embarrassing, sad, pathetic. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted it was despicable. Mike Johnson's House of Representatives, so proud to work for Ukraine, not the American people. It's despicable. And she included the video of members of the House waving their little Ukraine flag as the announcement came in that the money has been approved. Rand Paul, he posted on Twitter X, Ukrainian flags flying in the chamber of the United States House of Representatives as they vote to send more of your hard-earned money to a corrupt foreign regime. And just like that, they shout, Ukraine, Ukraine, while happily working to secure Ukraine's borders, not ours. I've never seen anything like what I saw yesterday of members of the House, of Congress, of Parliament, actually taking out the flag of another country and waving it as they chant the name of that foreign country. And you know that there was some military industrial complex lobbyist or some think tanker in DC that gathered up all of the representatives that were going to vote yes for the approval of the money to Project Ukraine. You know that someone gathered them up, had a couple of boxes of tiny Ukraine flags, passed them out to all the members of the House that were going to vote in favor of this bill, and gave them instructions. You know that this person, whoever it was, or these people, whoever they are, they sat there and told the people in the House, the members of the House, they said, okay, when you vote yes to approve the money for Project Ukraine, you're going to take out this flag. All of you are going to take out this flag. You're going to wave it and you're going to chant, Zelensky, Zelensky, Zelensky. And that's what they did. I was shocked. I was really shocked. It was sad, man. That was sad. That was sad to watch. Oh, boy. Mike Johnson, huh? doing his best to make sure that Biden does not suffer an Afghanistan type of collapse. That's what this vote was about. This vote was about giving Ukraine enough money so that they avoid a catastrophic collapse during the election, during the 2024 campaign. And so Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, did his very best to make sure that Biden does not have an Afghanistan type of incident happening as he is trying to get reelected. Afghanistan times 100. That's what a Ukraine collapse would mean for the Biden White House. Oh man. And how about the speeches? How about the speeches? My God. One guy, I don't even know who it was. Let's see. Do I have this guy's name? Here we go. Chuck Edwards, Representative Chuck Edwards. I have no idea who this guy is. But he gave a speech calling Putin a murderous, Marxist, socialist dictator. He's a murderous, Marxist, socialist dictator. He's a murderous, Marxist, libertarian, capitalist, socialist, democratic, dictator, fascist, Stalinist, dictator. Oh, boy. Another guy, where is he? Jerry Connolly from Virginia. He said the Ukrainian border is our border. Oh, my God. If you don't laugh, you cry. It hurts my head. It hurts my head to know that these are the people that are in the U.S. government that are making decisions for the United States of America. My God, the Ukrainian border is our border. Okay. Last time I looked at a map, it didn't look that way. Ukraine wasn't exactly too close to the United States, but I don't know. You know, borders, they change. Maps, they change. Countries, they move around a lot. So I don't know. Maybe Ukraine has somehow shifted to where Mexico used to be. And maybe Mexico now is close to Russia. I don't know. I don't know, man. Oh, man. Destroying themselves on the hill that is Project Ukraine. That is what the U.S. political class is doing. That is what they are doing to the United States of America. That is what they are doing to the collective West. They are destroying themselves on the hill that is Project Ukraine. So what did they accomplish yesterday with this vote? Maybe they bought some time for Zelensky, for the Ukraine military. Maybe this money will get Ukraine over the November 2024 hump. It's possible, but it's not a given. And here's the risk. Here is the risk, everybody. What if this money doesn't get Ukraine over the 2024 November hump and Ukraine still collapses? That's like a double Afghanistan collapse embarrassment for the Biden White House. Not only does his number one foreign policy project crumble in spectacular, embarrassing fashion, but the Biden White House and the Democrats and the establishment Republicans, the Rhino Republicans, they're embarrassed at the fact, humiliated at the fact that they gave an additional $60 billion to, as Rand Paul called it, the corrupt regime in Ukraine, only to have Project Ukraine still collapse, to have that $60 billion go poof disappear. Well, not really disappear, because most of the money is going to go to the military-industrial complex. And so even if Project Ukraine collapses, they're getting paid. They're getting paid no matter what. Huh? So as they were celebrating, waving their little Ukraine flags and cheering, they were essentially cheering for the death of hundreds and thousands of more people. Ukrainians, Russians, Middle East, because they also passed money to go to the Middle East. The future war with China. Let's not forget that there's money being sent to Taiwan, which signals that China is next. Project Taiwan, coming soon to a theater near you. All the grifters were happy. All the grifters, very, very happy. 10% for the big guy, right? In 3-4 years, you're going to be reading about some NATO general who has just purchased Manchester United or Barcelona or I don't know, Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, I don't know. I'm just naming football clubs. Bayern Munich. Yep, there's going to be some guy who purchases a football club, and everyone's going to be like, where did this guy get his money? And they're going to go to Wikipedia and they're going to say, General blah, 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 whatever his name was a general in NATO, and then he decided to go into business for himself, and he made his riches setting up a weapons consulting and manufacturing company or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's what's going to happen in 3-4 years. You can count on it. So Russia's going to destroy all the weapons, whatever weapons they do send to Ukraine. And they've already started sending most of the weapons to Ukraine. Actually, the weapons never stopped being sent to Ukraine. What this money does, let me tell you what this money does, actually. What this money does is that it closes the books. It squares up the books. It's accounting, because they have that in their inventories that they've sent X amount of weapons, but they can't record those weapons as being paid for or being sold. And so they've been sending weapons all this time. I mean, they've been sending ATACMS for like the past couple of months. We know they've been sending ATACMS because they've been using ATACMS. And so now with this money, the $14 billion that's going to go to Ukraine, which will then go back to the military-industrial complex, what the MIC can do is they can say, okay, those ATACMS that we sent a month ago, $1 billion, check. Okay, now our books are all balanced. They're all squared away. That's what's going on here. And then you have the $24 billion, which is basically going to the MIC and saying, please crank out as many weapons as you can. Crank out as many weapons as you can and as quickly as you can, because we need them. But Russia will destroy everything that's sent to the front lines. That's a given. And then what happens? What happens in 3, 4, 5, 6 months, however long it takes, when Russia destroys all those weapons that are going to be sent to Ukraine? What happens then? Another $60 billion package? I don't think so. We're going to definitely find out. So mainly the big accomplishment, the main big accomplishment was that perhaps, maybe, just maybe, they bought Ukraine some time. And another big accomplishment with the $60 billion is that they'll be able to pay the salaries of the Ukraine government, and Zelensky will be able to get money into his administration and to the Banderites and all the people that are upset with him, and at least they'll have some short-term stability in the government in Kiev. And even that's not a given. even stability in the government of Kiev with 9 billion as a loan, because that 10 billion is going as a loan, even with that money, it's not a given that you're going to be able to buy stability in the Zelensky government. When this conflict first started, when the special military operation first started, I had a saying: the slower this conflict goes, the quicker the collective West collapses. So it wasn't such a good idea to send the 60 billion to Ukraine in order to buy them some time, because the slower this goes, the quicker the collective West collapses. And one final point in all of this: Russia has been planning out this conflict. They've been operating under the assumption, not even the assumption, given that 60 billion will go to Ukraine, and a given that 300 billion in frozen assets will be stolen. That's how Russia has been planning everything out. So for the Russian military, for the Putin administration, this is exactly as they thought it would go. So for them, it doesn't change anything, really. The House, they also approved yesterday the seizing of the Russian frozen assets. And they have given the Biden White House the green light to send those frozen assets in the United States to the Zelensky regime. What they approved was called the Peace Through Strength Act, which was actually a bunch of different bills, and they rolled it up into one bill. And yesterday they put it up for a vote, and it got approved. And one part of the Peace Through Strength Act is the rebuilding, check this out, it's the Rebuilding Economic Prosperity and Opportunity for Ukrainians Act. One of the smaller bills rolled up in the Peace Through Strength Act is the Rebuilding Economic Prosperity and Opportunity for Ukrainian Act, which is the green light to seize the Russian frozen assets in the United States, otherwise known as and I'm not making this up, known as the Repo Act. I am not making this up. The Repo Act, authorizing Biden to seize the Russian frozen assets in the United States and hand them over to the Zelensky regime. The Repo Act. They're not even hiding it. They don't even care to hide it anymore. They don't even want to hide their theft. They're proud of their theft. So Rand Paul, he warned that confiscating Russia's sovereign assets is an act of economic war that would undermine global confidence in the U.S. Yeah, yeah, Rand Paul, spot on, but no reverse gear, Rand Paul. They have no reverse gear. The U.S. government, Congress, has decided that Project Ukraine is going to be the hill that they that's what they've decided. This is the cause that they're going to die on. This is the hill, Project Ukraine. Another part of this Peace Through Strength Act is the TikTok bill. That's right. Forcing China to sell TikTok. That was also passed yesterday via the House. So this is going to really piss off China. This is going to really piss off China. It's going to really freak out a lot of foreign investors who once upon a time thought that the US is a good, safe place to build a business. Not anymore. And really what this TikTok Act is going to do, it's going to open up the way for the US government, the Biden White House and Congress, the establishment, to do the same thing that they're doing to TikTok to other platforms like, say, Twitter, Truth Social. Trump is controlled by Putin, thus Truth Social has to be destroyed, or Elon Musk is controlled by the Chinese or Russia, or Starlink is being used by the Chinese or Russia, thus Elon Musk is being controlled by a foreign power, thus the TikTok Act, and Twitter has to be destroyed. Yeah, that was also passed yesterday in the U.S. House. What a dark day! What a dark day for America. Really, really dark day for America. And to celebrate the dark day for America, they were waving their Ukraine flags, the members of Congress. Despicable. Despicable me. Very, very despicable. And all of this went down. Coincidence, this is just coincidence, but all of this went down during the mustache man's birthday, actually. Yeah, yesterday was the mustache man's birthday. It's interesting, huh? Coincidence. So Zelensky's happy. Zelensky's real happy. He said, "I'm grateful to the United States House of Representatives, both parties, and personally Speaker Mike Johnson for the decision that keeps history on the right track." Zelensky wrote, suggesting that the aid would keep the war from expanding and save thousands and thousands of lives. It's going to do the exact opposite, and Zelensky knows that, but Zelensky doesn't care. Zelensky also wrote, I believe this was on Twitter X, "Just peace and security can only be attained through strength." Zelensky added that Ukraine will undoubtedly use American assistance to strengthen both our nations and bring a just end to this war closer. That's basically Zelensky saying, you guys are suckers. Suckers. Thank you for another 100 homes. And when the end is near, I'm Audi 5000. That is what this post is basically saying. When the end is coming and we're about to collapse, I'm out of here. I am out of here. Thank you for this final payday. Maybe I can get some of that 300 billion in frozen assets as well, but all good for me, all good for Zelensky. That's basically what this message is saying, huh? But then Zelensky got upset. Then he got really upset. So he got the news of the 60 billion approved by the House. He already knew that it was going to be approved, obviously. He knew that. But he got very upset a few minutes later because CNN, they ran a story with the title, "By passing Ukraine aid, Johnson became an unlikely Churchill." And Zelensky got really upset. Podolyak, what is this? What is this? Now Johnson Churchill, I'm Churchill. They promised me part of Churchill. How can Johnson be Churchill when I'm Churchill? Podolyak, call script writers and tell them this is unacceptable. There can only be one Churchill in this movie. This is me. Everyone's a Churchill. Medvedev, he sounded off on the vote in Congress, and boy, did Medvedev have some very harsh words. Very harsh words. I can't even read to you what Medvedev said. He did mention that this vote will prolong the fighting and it's going to increase the number of victims of this war. He did write that on his Telegram channel. He also said, and I quote, "Obviously, we will win, regardless of the bloody dollars shoved down the throat of the insatiable American defense industry. The strength and the truth are on our side." And then he branded the U.S. This is Medvedev, and I quote, "a despicable empire of evil of the 21st century." That is what Medvedev wrote on Telegram. He said a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Medvedev really lashed out. So Politico yesterday, an interestingly timed article that was put out by Politico yesterday with the title, "U.S. Weighs Sending Additional Military Advisors to Ukraine as Russia Gains Momentum. The troops would be serving in a non-combat role," officials said. So the announcement came in. Politico was the first to report on it, that the Biden White House is considering sending additional military advisors to Ukraine, to the embassy in Kiev, because if these military advisors remain in the embassy or the consulate is part of an embassy, by the way. A consulate is part of an embassy. But if you send these advisors to remain in the embassy, to be stationed in the U.S. embassy in Kiev, well, the thinking is that they're safe, right? Yes, they are safe. Absolutely. Those are the rules of the world, right? If you're in an embassy, you are off limits. The advisors are going to be non-combat, in a non-combat role, reported Politico, and they're going to advise and support the Ukraine government and military. Here's what Politico is reporting. The additional troops will support logistics and oversight efforts for the weapons the U.S. is sending Ukraine, according to 4 U.S. officials and a person familiar with the plans who were granted anonymity to speak about a sensitive topic. It was not clear how many additional U.S. troops would ultimately be sent to Ukraine, but 2 of the U.S. officials said the number would be up to 60. So 60 advisors, up to 60 advisors, most likely, will be going to Kiev, hanging out in the U.S. Embassy in Kiev, and they're going to be advising and supporting the proxy war against Russia. And Kirby's going to come out in a week or 2 and say, we're not a party to this war. We're not a party to this war at all. We're just coordinating everything from the embassy in Kiev. Interesting announcement from Politico, an interesting timing of this announcement. So the Financial Times is reporting that Blinken will be heading to China next week. And the reason for Blinken traveling to China is so that he can warn China over weapons-related exports to Russia. This is according to the Financial Times. The concern there is that through Chinese support, Russia has largely reconstituted its defense industrial base, which has an impact not just on the battlefield in Ukraine, but poses a larger threat, we believe, to broader European security, the State Department spokesman said. So that's deeply concerning to us. We'll express those concerns to China, and we will express our intent to have China curtail that support. The State Department has warned that it will take further steps as necessary to deter China from aiding Russia's defense industry. We're committed to taking the steps necessary to defend our national interests, and we're prepared to take steps we believe necessary in contravention to our interests and in ways that, as we've indicated here, severely undermine security in both Ukraine and Europe. So Blinken is going to travel to China in order to warn China against working with Russia because it threatens the security of Ukraine and Europe. Blinken is going to go to China so that he can threaten China to stop helping Russia. Stop helping Russia so that Russia loses, and then we can come after you because we just passed the Taiwan foreign aid package, which is billions and billions of dollars going to Taiwan so that eventually we can start a conflict with you, China. But before we do that, before we start the conflict with you, China, I am here to warn you, to threaten you to stop supporting Russia so that we can defeat Russia and then we can come after you. And China's gonna go for this. Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, we'll help you. We'll help you defeat Russia, Mr. Blinken, so that the $10 billion that you just sent to Taiwan can be used against us. Yeah, absolutely. We're with you on that one. Oh, man. They're coping hard, the Biden White House. They are coping hard. They're explaining Russia's victory, Russia's winning, by blaming it on China. That's the cope, everybody. The cope is that Russia was going down. We had Russia right where we wanted them. We had Putin right where we wanted him. He was going to go down in defeat. Russia was going to go down to defeat. Ghost of Kiev and Goat of Kiev and Snake Island, Kherson counteroffensive, and the failed super duper summer spring counteroffensive that just kind of failed just a little bit failed. But believe me, we had Russia right where we wanted them, and then China came along and it started providing shovels and washing machine chips, and everything changed. That's the cope. That is the cope. It's nonsense. It is nonsense. But what's going to happen when Blinken, very much like Yellen, goes to China and starts threatening China? What's going to happen? Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. China's going to tell Blinken to buzz off. They'll do it in a very diplomatic and polite way, but they're going to say, Blinken, get out of here. Get out of here. We're going to do whatever we want to do. So that's the first thing they're going to do. And then they're going to say, you know what? These guys are really pissing us off. That's what they're going to say. Yellen, Olaf Scholz, now Blinken, all coming over here and threatening us to stop our good relations with Russia, telling us what to do. So the Chinese are going to say, you know what? Now we're going to really start to support Russia. We're so sick of these threats and these accusations that we're sending Russia X, Y, Z, and it's because of us that Russia is winning, that now we're going to really start to support Russia. Yeah, they haven't seen anything yet. Because if China really does come out and support Russia, boy, oh boy, you think Russia manufactures a lot of ammunition. If China were to support Russia militarily in the way that all of NATO and the collective West has supported Ukraine, it would be game over, lights out, like in a week. Yeah. This is going to backfire on Blinken in a big, big way. Let's do a couple of clown worlds and we'll wrap this video up. So yesterday, also interesting timing, a podcast interview of Hillary Clinton was published. This was an interview with that Democrat. What's that guy's name? He's like a Democrat operative. I always forget the dude's name. One sec. Let me know in the comments down below if you know the guy's name. I think I've bookmarked the article. Mark Elias. That's the guy's name. So Hillary did an interview with Mark Elias, and she said that Trump wants to delete his opposition. That's what Hillary said. Interesting timing to all of this, huh? Putin does what Trump would like to do: delete his opposition, imprison his opponents, drive journalists and others into exile, rule without any check or balance, Clinton said. That's what Trump really wants. We have to be very conscious of how he sees the world, because in that world, he only sees strongman leaders, Clinton said. He sees Putin, he sees Xi, he sees Kim Jong-un in North Korea. Those are the people he is modeling himself after, and we've been down this road in our world history. We sure don't want to go down that again. Okay, so first of all, big up to Hillary Clinton for remembering to call out North Korea. Yeah, Kim Jong-un. Big up to Hillary Clinton. She did not forget Kim Jong-un as part of the axis of evil, because Johnson, the other day, he forgot North Korea. He said Xi, Putin, Russia, China, Iran, and he forgot North Korea when he was naming the axis of evil. So Hillary Clinton, she did not forget the North Korean leader. Second, Hillary Clinton, the Clintons talking about deleting opposition. I don't know. Yeah, the Clintons talking about deleting opposition. I don't know. Oh boy. And finally, and this is the important part. This is the absolute important part. Connecting Trump to Putin, connecting Trump to Xi Jinping. This is obviously, this is deliberate. The timing of this podcast, this interview, for it to drop on the very same day as the vote for Project Ukraine. No coincidence. I don't believe it's a coincidence. But even the speeches in the House, all they were saying was Putin the dictator. What they were saying was Putin the dictator, Putin the this, Putin the that. Putin is the mustache man. Putin is the strong man. Putin must be defeated. This is like World War II. This is no different than World War II. This is the same thing as World War II. This is like Saving Private Ryan. This is our Saving Private Ryan moment. I mean, that was all the speeches were focused on that one single narrative, because what the script writers want to do is, over the next 6 to 9 months, up until the elections, what they want to do is they want to start creating. They've already been doing it, but they want to further strengthen, not create, further strengthen the Trump is Putin, Putin is Trump, Trump is Xi, Xi is Trump, Xi is Putin, Putin is Trump. These are strongman dictators. They want to strengthen that narrative. That's why all of Congress is talking about Putin as the dictator. That's why they're talking about this is like World War II. That's why they're saying that Putin has to be stopped. Just swap out Putin for Trump. Swap out Putin for Trump. And that's why you have Hillary Clinton saying that Trump is Putin and Putin is Trump, and Putin wants to be Trump and Trump wants to be Putin. This is the game that they're going to play up until the elections. Connect Trump to Putin, connect Trump to Xi, call Xi a dictator, hence Trump is a dictator, call Putin a dictator, hence Trump is a dictator. Putin's a strong man, hence Trump is a strong man. Xi is a strong man, hence Trump is a strong man. This is all manipulation. This is all a trick, and it's all manipulation, and it's all freaking scripted. The whole thing is being scripted. All of it. The speeches in the House, this podcast interview, it's all being scripted to get to that one manipulation, that narrative that they want to get to, which is to convince the American voter that they can't possibly vote for Trump because, well, Trump is Putin. And Trump is Xi, and Putin is evil, and Xi is evil, and that means I can't vote for Trump. Anyway, not much of a clown world, huh? Let's do a couple of more real clown worlds. So the New York Post, they put up this article, Niet, Moscow Marjorie, with Marjorie Taylor Greene pictured in this cover from the New York Post, mocking America First, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Niet, Marjorie, Moscow Marjorie. They even cooked up a nickname for her, huh? Moscow Marjorie, the New York Post. I think the New York Post is owned by, I want to say Murdoch, but I don't know. I could be wrong about that. So that's the New York Post. And finally, Zelensky, he made some statements yesterday where he said that Putin is afraid of the collective West, afraid of Zelensky and afraid of the collective West. That is what Zelensky said yesterday, which follows up on what Rutte said a couple of days ago, which is that Putin is not strong and we should not be afraid of him. Zelensky pretty much said the same thing. Putin is not strong and we should not be afraid of Putin. It's all scripted. It's all freaking scripted. What Rutte is told to say is a script. What Zelensky is told to say is a script. Putin is not strong. Just repeat that. Putin is not strong. Putin is not strong. Why? Why do you want to repeat that? Because we may just have to convince citizens of the collective West that we're going to have to put boots on the ground and go to war with Russia. So in order to prepare the citizens of the collective West for a possible war with Russia, we want them to know that, we want them to believe in the propaganda that Putin is not strong and we should not be afraid of him. Don't be afraid of him. We can take him on. We can take on Russia. Don't be afraid. He's not that tough. He's not that strong. He's not that smart. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. And go to the Duran shop, pick up limited edition merch. The link is in the description box down below. Take care.